Arena. Thank you very, very much. So, for those who may not have seen, just making sure you got to check. You got to check. Keep me in good posture. No harm in that. Um, so yeah, those who might not have seen this deck before, card here, Titan's Nest, is the deck namesake card that we're based around. At the beginning of my upkeep, it will let me look at the top card of my library, and I can put that card in the bin if I don't want it. It lets me exile cards from my graveyard to create colorless mana, but I can only spend that mana on colored spells that don't have X in the mana cost. So, the best way to abuse Titan's Nest is by paying big, clunky spells that would otherwise be very expensive, but making them rather cheap, courtesy of the Nest itself. The big winner here, the one that is your main win condition, is Shark Typhoon. We often cast this for 1 mana. Sadly, can't play Eldrazi Witch Doctor because they are colorless, and we can only cast colored spells off Titan's Nest. So yeah, big winner is Shark Typhoon. You often cast this for 1 mana and then start churning out piles and piles of sharks. You do cycle it every now and then, but it is usually something that you cast in this deck. There are a couple of other reasonable winners in this deck that make sense because of Titan's Nest that you might not see anywhere else. They are Reign of Revelation, which is a 1 mana draw 3 that discards a card, and discarding a card actually just creates a mana with Titan's Nest a lot of the time, so it actually ends up being a very, very reasonable draw spell. The other one is Boon of the Wishgiver here, which is another massive draw spell that is quite expensive at the costs you would expect to be playing it. But drawing 4 cards for 2 blue mana is certainly nothing to turn your nose up at. We also have some Beanstalk Giants here at the top end, which often come down as a 1 green threat towards the end of the game if we're running out of Shark Typhoons and have nothing else left to do, and can often just act as a ramp spell in the mid-game when we do have things to do. The rest of the deck, very much a pile of interaction. We're base blue-black, trying to be lightly touching green. So we have some sweepers that we can cast on the cheap, some interaction in the form of removal and counter magic, the kind of things you would expect. Elspeth's Nightmare is not a card that makes too much sense in non-Urian shells, and I've not actually played this in the Titan's Nest deck before, but at the minute I think it's actually just very well positioned. Discard effect, while also being able to remove cheap creatures, while most importantly exiling graveyards is a really big deal. I've been tempted by Scavenging Ooze in the past, but we're really not very green, and playing too many green lands is a bit of a detriment to us in general. So trying out this one, I think it's probably reasonable in theory, and looking forward to seeing how it performs today. Otherwise, main deck fairly self-explanatory. Maze Mind Tome, just very, very good. You might question the Evolving Wilds in the mana base. Very much like Fabled Passage, some of our best turns involve having a lot of cards in the graveyard. So playing a couple extra lands that also go to our graveyard, so over the course of the game, somewhat important. Sideboard is very much a work in progress with this one. We're trying out a couple of things here. Yeah, Evolving Wilds definitely to fuel the Titan's Nest, 100%. Trying out a couple of new ones here. We're trying some Glimpse of Freedoms over the Green Spider. We had Arachneer, Chainweb Arachneer in here before as our anti-rogue card. I'm trying Glimpse today just because it actually lets me get some more cards out of my graveyard and keeps me working towards the cards that actually help me in that matchup, so we'll see whether that's better than the Spider or not. There's another Elspeth's Nightmare tucked in here as well. And the other one is these 2 copies of Kiora Best the Sea God, not a card that I've played in this deck before either. And we're trying this one today over the Cragplate Baloths we had in the sideboard last time. So sometimes you just need a threat that is particularly good against cards like ECD, Gemrazor, stuff like that. But because Titan's Nest and Shark Typhoon, they're pretty prone to getting removed from the battlefield, especially in Game 2 and Game 3. So we want a threat that we can not only ramp out, but kind of pay off by having it be safe from bits and pieces like that, whilst giving us like an 8/8 with hexproof. The only downside to this over something like Cragplate is that this can get countered. So touch and go, we'll have to see whether there's too much of a difference or not. I think the Tome is just very, very good, honestly. Witch Doctor, I just think it's very well positioned and a fantastic magic card, so we'll likely keep seeing plenty of play. Been fairly happy with those. Don't see them going anywhere, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's hop back onto the ladder and try and win some games with Titan's Nest, shall we? Pepino. Yeah, there's a couple of cards like that that might be good, for example, but we very much are a control deck, and none of the landfall cards really do what we're looking them to do in that spot. We're just kind of happy to have the fetch lands to put extra cards in our graveyard more than anything else. This Hand in the Dark is perfectly fine, but against the Lovestruck Beast deck, we are obviously going to be very slow. So this could be a bit of a dodgy keep against Lovestruck Beast, indeed. Yes, all books. Many books in this hand. Was very much hoping my opponent would be a little bit slower out of the gate, but... Whoops, all books. Different deck, yes. But it looks like they are on Gruul Adventures, which means this could be kind of awkward. Gonna have to try and find some removal or sweepers, basically. Take some damage. Wouldn't mind my opponent missing their land drop. That's actually not terrible either, because it means we're not getting Lovestruck Beasted this turn. Alright, let's start looking for some removal, which is very much what this matchup is all about. Alas, not quite. Probably cycling the boon and drawing a card this turn, and we really do need to find something right about now, because these Lovestruck Beasts are going to start hitting pretty hard. Playing around Shark Typhoon, which is the reason that we left our mana up in the first place. Draw ourselves a card here. Drawing Seagate is not overly helpful. Again, I don't mind keeping tome-heavy hands in most matchups, but unfortunately, this is definitely not one where that pays dividends. This is kind of awkward now, honestly. Only 2 cards in the bin means that we can't really hyper-accelerate out like Seagate to pay anything off. And sadly, we can't clear out all the 1/1s. I think there's a good chance I just have to kill off the Innkeeper and hope there's like no cleave to be cast this turn. And like keep scrying my way towards Extinction Event or similar. Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum. Alright, well, didn't get cleaved, that's something. Alright. Almost certainly going to scry in the upkeep as well here. Really would like to find Extinction Event. Unfortunately, no dice. Oh! I see, yes. Unfortunately, again, I think keeping Triple Maze Mind is fine in most matchups, but Adventures is not one of them. I'm dead to both of these currently, right? So I guess I am on Cycle and hit Heartless Act, maybe? Or 2 mana piece of removal? No. Fair enough. As I say, very, very deliberately kept a slow hand. More than happy to in Standard right now in general. And Gruul Adventures definitely punished us for it. So, all Doomblades on deck. Let's get these in deck. Let's get the Wilts in for the Embercleaves and the Great Henges. And I think I actually kind of like Elspeth's Nightmare in this matchup. I'm on the fence about it. I think given I have 2 main deck currently, I'm probably just going to leave this one on the board for the sec. Clearing the graveyard doesn't actually do very much in this matchup. I don't like Mystical Dispute here. It's basically blank. We're not ramping in this matchup, so Beanstalk Giant is happy to go away. And I'm like kind of happy to trim and neutralize, I think. The chance I trim them both and leave a Beanstalk. Counter Magic in general is just not very good against this deck. We need to be reacting to what my opponent's already done or interacting with their hand in some aspect, because holding up 3 mana when your opponent has a Lovestruck Beast in play already doesn't tend to end particularly well for you. I would rather just have more Doomblades, I think. How are we all doing, folks? Nice to see you anyway. Thank you everyone who's stopping by. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Having an okay day? Okay day is something. At least it's not a bad one. I'm doing okay, Witch Doctor. I'm a little bit ill. I'm a little bit full of a cold. But other than that, I'm okay. You know, okay as I can be, given the world right now. But I'll manage. We all get colds. Unfortunately, that hand is not keepable. Hopefully Ugin does make me feel better. That would be lovely. Can keep the 6. Think I'm going to bin this Soul Shatter as being the card I can afford to lose the most. It's tempting to bin the Wilt, but I really hate losing to Embercleave, so... I think there is way more removal in my deck than there is removal effects for Cleave and the like, so... I think I'm going to leave this Innkeeper alive for a turn. It's kind of touch and go, but I don't have a good turn to set up Tome otherwise, and if my opponent doesn't cast a 2-mana Adventure, I get to draw a card and kill this next turn, which seems like a much better use of my mana than just Bloodchief's Thirsting now and not playing a Tome. God damn it. I really didn't want to lose that Tome. I really did not want to lose that Tome. I probably have to keep this though. We need to find some card advantage now, but I think bottoming removal is rough. Cardboard Lives down, that's fine. I'll give it a kick. Don't mind me. I'll get it up and running for you again in just a second. Meant to play this as a black source, I got distracted. Meant to hold up Heartless Act there and played the wrong side of the land, but that's fine. Hopefully it should be working for you now, fingers crossed. Scavenging Ooze. That is a little frustrating. In fairness, we can't... Well, we could have Heartless Act that one, and well... They're passing to us, so maybe we get away with it. Also Skoos. Skoos is great. Do love me a little bit of Ooze. Yeah, really need like a Rain of Revelation or something here. If opponent goes to eat a creature, I'm probably going to kill this while I have the opportunity. Otherwise, I will not be able to. Yeah, I think I'm going to remove this from play. But definitely looking for a card draw spell to help us catch back up a little. Oh, don't be silly, Barman. You don't have to always say hello. It's nice to see you. Hopefully you had a lovely dinner, and thank you for stopping by. I'm okay. I'm a little full of the cold, and obviously, you know, having to not go to work again does take a bit of a toll. But as a human being, I am kind of alright. Hopefully you are too. It doesn't seem to be registering things on board. I'll give it a kick again. We'll give it a reboot, and hopefully it will sort itself out shortly. It's going to pass with the Shark Typhoon up here. Don't think there's a lot else I can do otherwise. Hopefully that'll fix it. Yeah, it's a bit temperamental at times. I am sorry about that. But we'll give it a stern kicking, and hopefully it'll be fine. See if opponent's going to go in on this Brush Fire. I really would rather they didn't, but I can't make a big enough shark to block it anyway. So... yeah, that's not good. I got to hold the Will up here to play around Embercleave. Yeah, Cardboard Live is a great piece of software, but it can be a little temperamental at times. And that's fine. It's worth it. Yeah, I had to play around this, which is why I did what I did. Also full of cold, doing some last minute errands before lockdown 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, sounds about right. They got me into the barber tomorrow, so that'll be the last thing I really need to get done before it's time to lock the doors again. I think I'll get second green here. I think I prefer holding up the shark. It might be a little greedier, but I'm really low on cards. I need a card draw spell pretty bad. Please don't have another cleave. Maze Mind Tome is a great pickup. Should hopefully help us find some cards. That's not bad either. Let's try and find the land with this so we can play both. Nice. Opponent, don't kill me. Thanks. Do I want to scry? I don't think I do. Beanie Boy is reasonable here. Not sure what's in my opponent's hand, though. Apparently, nothing. Apparently nothing at all. I guess we'll take game number 3, hopefully. On to game numero 3. Yeah, it was a bit of an early concession. We're on 9. It's very possible there's cards in their deck that kill us, so I'm not sure I agree with that one either. Maybe hiding information, maybe. That would make some sense. But definitely seems like an early concession either way, especially given that I was also quite low on cards. But maybe not. Maybe someone knows something that I don't. Bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum bum. Yeah, like my opponent was still very in that game from our perspective, but if they've got like 3 lands in hand, maybe they just want to move on, you know? I still think it's a bit early, but obviously we can't see their hand, so who knows? Hopefully we can take a steady game 3. I don't tend to mulligan very many 2-land tome hands. We've got enough interaction early. If we draw a land for our first turn, I might even play an untapped land and cycle this boon away. I think this is just about a keep. But it's definitely on the line. Yeah, Magic would probably be easier if we could see the hand. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Edgewall Innkeeper on 1. Fair enough. Another tome was not exactly what I was looking for, but sure. Brushfire. Gataxian Probe is a messed up Magic card. Let's never print it in anything ever again. Ever. Thank you. I am going to get black here, so I have access to blue-black. I think they're the more important colours to have. We do draw a blue source anyway, but you want to. That, my bad, sorry, you should have just said that. I didn't realise you wanted to. This is actually kind of tough. I need to kill both of these. What do I think my opponent's more likely to... I can wait, right? So if I pass the turn and my opponent casts a 3-drop, I probably kill the Brushfire and attempt to Extinction Event the other 2. Okay, if they're doing this, they almost certainly don't have an adventure for the Innkeeper, so I'm going to kill the Brushfire. You know you gotta rock down to electric... It's in my head now. You talk about Electric Boogaloo, and I'm gone. They do have the adventure, which is a little strange to me. I'm kind of surprised to see that. But it means killing Brushfire was correct, because this is setting up for Extinction Event pretty nicely. We do draw land number 4, but it is a very painful one. So I think I'm playing this tapped. I'm just getting a tome on the go. And hoping my opponent wants to cast another odd-costed creature this turn. Good chance I take a scry here as well, honestly. Please don't have an Embercleave. Why do they always have Embercleave? Why? Okay, yeah, we'll keep that. That's fine. We can't cast it right now, but we're going to need it. So, I guess we take 11 here, we Extinction Event, and hope there's no haste on the other side of the table. Very, very glad we killed that Brushfire Elemental now. Let's try and scry our way towards a green source. That is an Edgewalling Keeper. That is an Ember Shield Breaker. I think there's a good chance I'm going to need this. Yeah, I'm not overly happy with where we are. I think the Tome's actually preferable to cycling, right? I just have to accept I'm going to miss my land drop this turn. Eliminate the thing they try and stick the Embercleave on. Please leave the battlefield. Yeah, we're just kind of missing some lands, unfortunately, which is the problem. Looking for green. That is not green. That is also not green. Draw a card. That is another Tome. Green source. I mean, we're technically on 1 life. We're not actually technically dead. Not sure you agree with bottoming what? Like, what does Reign of Revelation really do for us there? We go to 1 life and we need to draw very, very well off of it. I think if we find a green source, we're in a lot better shape. We are dead to a lot of things, though. Okay. That's not going to help. I should have scryed first. Should have scryed first. Now I have to find removal. Yeah, this could have been sequenced better, but we got a bit unlucky as well. That's rough. We didn't give ourselves the best chance to win that, though. I should have scryed first. It wouldn't have mattered, but that's not the point. Not a great start, but interesting game. I think there was a chance we could win that one. I look forward to watching that one back a little bit later. Trying to figure it out. Yeah, I think the Reign is fine. The problem is we're really short on mana at the time, right? So if we keep Reign of Revelation, we have to spend that entire turn casting it. We go to 1 life, and we need to have found, like, green source plus removal off of Reign in 3 cards, which I think is just a bit hard to do. With 2 cyclers and a piece of removal, I think this hand is fine, but it does need to find its lands. Okay. Temple of the Deceit here could be it could be big rogues, or it could be blue-black control. Esper, okay. Esper, not Urian. Interesting. I do wonder what this is. I would like to play the blue side, please. Why won't you let me? Okay, pretty happy to cycle this away here. We are not going to be casting Boone in this matchup, I don't think. Bogues. Not quite what I meant. But a name you could use, I suppose. Let's try for a tome. Resolves. Weird. Okay. Yeah, this is... Well, Doom Foretold would be Urian, you would think. They always play Urian because it's just very good with all the cards that are in their deck. So, unless my opponent has all 4 of them in their main deck... Teferi, Master of Time. Okay. A little confused, but... I don't hate it. No reason to scry here, it just wastes destroying a card later on off the turn. Discards eliminate, as they probably should. There are exactly 2 creatures in our deck, none of which you can eliminate. I think I'm going to try... It's actually kind of awkward, because in a spot like this, I'd be very tempted to try and get the nest down, because my opponent's tapped out, but I do play into ECD that way. So there's a good chance I should have got second black and just Bloodchief's Thirsted this off the table instead. Yeah, I think that was probably the line. I'm actually like fairly certain that was the line. Given that I didn't do that, I think I'm just going to Bala get back Fabled Passage. Make my next land drop, get second black, and probably work towards that. Teferi's basically nowhere, to be honest with you, Witch Doctor. Card doesn't see an awful lot of play anymore. If at all, if it ever did. You don't see a lot of Teferis around. Discards a Giant Killer. Well, opponent looks fairly controlling, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on over there. Maybe there's more to it than I think there is. Ashiok. Right, now we're in some trouble. Don't mind keeping another one of these. We're going to need to make some sharks to challenge one of these planeswalkers, regardless of which one we kill. It might be Esper Super Friends or something similar, yeah. Maybe. I can't quite tell. Force. If I Titan's Nest, I couldn't shark as well. So I am just going to kick this. And I think I much prefer kicking this Ashiok. But, being removal heavy is definitely detrimental in a matchup like this. Because our opponent has a pile of planeswalkers that we can do very little about. Because we're not playing counterspells, we're playing piles of Heartless Axe and stuff instead. Opponent is pitching their eliminates away. Yeah, maybe. But like, I haven't seen anyone playing Esper Control because there's not really any reason to. You should probably just be Dimir. We do need to find an answer to this thing, otherwise it's gonna start taking all the turns. I'm gonna try and hold this spare supplies. Oof. Going deep. Okay. I am going to scry from my land after this Nightmare mills me. And I'm likely going to leave the nest in my hand because I need a big turn that isn't susceptible to ECD. and playing it out and then getting it ECD'd does not achieve that. So, I'm going to play this land, and I'm probably just going to make as big a shark as I can at the end of the turn. And try and start pressuring this Teferi, which I'm assuming probably doesn't work, honestly, because they have 5 cards in their hand, and we have played 0 creatures. Hopefully the Shark Typhoon draws an answer to Teferi. I think most of us are weak to sharks, to be honest with you, Witch Doctor. It's very hard to not be weak to sharks. So this just ultimates now, right? Like if my opponent can't save it, they just take 2 extra turns. So, yikes. Not even the Master of Time. You're not wrong. Alright, so all I need to do here is actually attempt to pressure the Teferi. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make a 2/2 shark. And also draw a card off of the Maze Mind Tome. Just to kind of give myself the largest number of ways of finding an answer to this thing, or not being cripplingly far behind by the time that it's done. Unfortunately, that's not looking likely. You just popping it for the ultimate now, or what? Yes, you are. Okay, see? You must have no removal spells. No, Titan's Nest does not like X spells, unfortunately. That is a big deal. So, I get to take my turn, but then my opponent gets 2 turns? Good game. Dude. Dude, what? Is it really that bad? How fucked am I? 7 cards, alright. Black, green, blue... 1. No, I definitely want more blue than I do black, right? No, I don't actually. Blue is correct. Neutralize the nest. He might be. Maybe he takes infinite extra turns, but I don't know how he's going to do that. If that's a thing that he can do. He does now get 3 turns in a row, which I can't imagine is good for us. But we did beat 4 Ugin the Spirit Dragons the other day, so I'm not conceding. He does seem to have plenty of card draw, you're not wrong. I'm more interested in the fact the only white card we've seen so far is Giant Killer. What are you white for, dude? What's going on? I see. That makes some sense. Alright, well, let's kill this, and our opponent is going to get to swing at us twice with a Dream Trawler. Alright, this dude's an ass. Just in case anyone wondered. Like, even if I am dead, there's just no need, is there, really? All 4 omens. More spare supplies. Hey, Mrs. Pear, thank you very much for resubscribing with your Prime subscription. I appreciate that. It's nice to see you. Thank you, as always, for your support. It means a lot. Thank you, thank you. Sure. 9 cards in the grave. I guess it's rain. Yeah, it seems like a reasonable summary, Witch Doctor. No, I've not seen some Ashiok in a while, and I do think just in general right now, Planeswalkers are probably slightly underplayed in Standard, and that's probably just a combination of the fact that they were not very good for a short while, and also everyone was a bit tired of them, I guess, which is also a real thing. I can't beat a counterspell, so I'm not going to try. Literally can't even. Well, our opponent took 3 turns in a row and we didn't die immediately. Like, we're still losing, but not immediately. Okay, there is actually Doom Foretold in this deck for some reason, which is all the information that I needed. So opponent seems to be a weird amalgamation of Doom Foretold-esque style stuff. If that's the case, Wilt in my deck, please. This might be fine. Disputes Negates all seem fantastic. I think I want Glimpse of Freedom as well in this matchup. We need to get rid of all these Doom Blades and Sweepers that are not particularly good. How do I feel about Elspeth's Nightmare in this matchup? It's not great, really. It is actively kind of bad. Yeah, let's chuck those away. I'm not sure. Like, maybe I should leave the Soul Shatter in, but I'm leaning towards just being able to counter Dream Trawlers with piles of disputes as opposed to having to remove them. I think that is a better game plan than leaving Extinction Event in my deck against what my opponent is doing. We've not seen his entire deck. Like, he can just kill us with Ashiok Nightmares and stuff like that. Like, it's not completely reliant on Dream Trawler. Ooh, okie dokie. Cool. Just gonna play the Control Mirror for a second, I guess. I'm never gonna fight you over Omen of the Sea. It's just not a card that matters. Yeah, of course, Witch Doctor, and like we can have a civil discussion about it. I'm just very much like you're trying to tell me what you think's going on. I'm just trying to tell you what I think's going on. Again, this is more than fine. We'll likely just Rain of Revelation at the end of this turn. We can play this game. We are, at the end of the day, a control deck as well, so we can buy our time. I think Dream Trawler is actually a reasonable card to be playing right now. There's just some decks that can't beat a Dream Trawler at the sec, which makes it defendable. Island it is. Am I allowed to make it rain, sir? Sir or ma'am? I am allowed to make it rain. That is some Shark Typhoons. So let's discard this island, because the more cards in my graveyard, the better, as a general rule. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. Sharks. I'm pretty happy to fire off one shark here. The second one, not so much, but the first one is probably fine. See how much removal our opponent left in. I do not intend on getting bitten by sharks, thank you. The Wilt's not a bad draw here, honestly. It keeps us safe from, like, Doom Foretold, weird shenanigans like that. Probably cycling this Sagoth Triome, but we'll see what our next couple of draws look like. I'm going to be more aggressive with the first dispute, at least. Yeah, like, this is not happening. I kind of want to not be soft to Dream Trawler, so I'll probably hold on to the second one, but... the first one I'm pretty happy to just burn here. Rain is another good draw step, that's fine. Glimpse isn't bad either. Yeah, the Typhoon grants sharks flying powers. Trust me, if you're in a Typhoon, you'll be flying too. That is how Typhoons work. So I'm going to lead on Rain of Revelation here. Happy to discard the second Wilt, that's fine. And then I will likely just Glimpse of Freedom. Kind of want to draw more lands, which is the reason I'm not cracking these Fabled Passages. I'm going to leave the other one uncracked again for the same reason. Nice. Titan's Nest is a fantastic draw. There's currently 11 cards in our graveyard. Yeah, I think I'm willing to pick a fight over this, actually. So let's attack first. Yeah, I have no experience being in a Typhoon either, strangely enough. Green, black, blue, 1 nest. Neutralize dispute. Negate, and I get to negate back. Which isn't ideal, of course, because I would like to have had some mana available left, but I think this is a fight that's just kind of fine. Neutralize is a good little card, yeah. Alright, so if we get to untap without Trawler landing, I think we're in very good shape. If the Trawler does land, this might be a little bit harder. Ashiok. That's fine. That's actually just completely fine. Just gonna bin the Wilt here. And bin another Titan's Nest. Not worried about this one either. Another negate is good. Alright, so let's get exiling some cards. 1. You now see the worst part of playing this deck on Arena is the clicking. And you have to be careful about what you pick, because you have escape cards and you also have Balaged's Recovery, so you gotta try not to get rid of cards you actually want to keep. And 5. Blue Source. Hardcast. Everything is manual, exactly. It's like playing on MTGO. Yeah, I can kick and kill this, right? Black, black. And 3 exiled from the graveyard. That's fine, we can do that. Is it better automated? I don't know. questionable sometimes. There are definitely pros and cons in both cases. So, kick this Blood Chief's Thirst, take the Ashiok off the table, make a 1/1 Shark, and hold up, neutralize, negate. Is that good? I think that's pretty good. Yeah, no, I understand, Witch Doctor. I would rather you didn't. Let's fire off a glimpse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that's a really good glimpse of freedom. Like, exceptionally good. Exile 5 cards from your graveyard. Opponent concedes the game. Fair enough, Witch Doctor, fair enough. This is a fine 3-lander. No problems at all. Gonna lead on Evolving Wilds, fetching the Swamp here. There's a chance we don't play Balagad as a land if we chain a couple off, but... otherwise, we just will. Opponent with a Tome of their own. Drawing another land is not bad, though. Tome. He can. Like, we can still lose to Ashiok and some other stuff like that, so he could definitely win the game without Dream Trawler, but I imagine it's obviously his main win condition, yes. This is going to turn into a nice, long, grindy control fest. I'm going to play the green source here so that I can potentially wilt their Tome. Opponent chooses to cast Omen of the Sea instead of using Tome, which I'm not sure I agree with. I think Ashiok's fine against me. Not like massively special or anything, but fine. Maybe they were looking for land specifically, so they want an Omen because it gives them more shots at it than Tome does. I'm just going to draw myself a card. No reason to spend any mana main phase here. We saw a giant killer in game 1 as well, but we haven't seen anything else. Which does seem a little ambitious, with Dream Trawler being double white and all that. But maybe there's something in there. Maybe he's got some other white spells. Oh, Doom Foretold. We did see this one in game 1 as well. That's fair. So I think I'm actually going to... Am I going to negate this? It's actually kind of close, because I can negate this and wilt the Tome, or I can negate this, draw a card, or I can wilt this and draw a card. And I'm actually not entirely sure which of those is better. I need to handle this somehow. But I think I prefer holding the negate. So I'm going to let this resolve. I think negate's the more valuable card to me. So let's wilt this Doom Foretold away. I care less about the Tome when my opponent, or like when I also have a Tome. Like we're going to be going card for card. It's more important to get rid of this when I don't have a Tome. So I think holding the gate is actually just very valuable. And I'm gonna do that instead. Definitely close though. Interesting decision point. Because I could have deprived my opponent of several cards, which I'm choosing deliberately not to do. So, unsure. It depends on how aggressively I think I can use the Tome though, Witch Doctor. Because if I don't think I'm going to have time to use it, then it's tough. Opponent happily passing the turn here. We're going to crack the Evolving Wilds. I don't need to get dangerous and play out the other Tome just yet. So I might this turn, because I have to discard a card if I don't, because I've drawn too many cards. So let's fetch up another blue source and cast a tome. We're doing it now because we want to hold 7 cards in our hand and not have to discard stuff. But we want to be able to hold up counter magic at the same time. Hey, right, it's not so bad. Things are obviously a little rough in the real world, but we're getting back to working on Titan's Nest. I'm currently 7-3 with it today, but I am trying some funky card choices, so I'm going to lose some games to funky card choices too. How are you? Nice to see you, man. I did see Sam's new Mardu list, the list he played in the Arena Open, I believe. I've not had a chance to play it yet. I am looking to do so at some point. If he's made another list since then, I've not seen it. Very traditional control fight going on right now. We are both playing for the long game. Let's draw yet another card with this tome. What we would play this week, it now has Bertha Militis. Yeah, I think his version he played in the Arena Open was on Bertha Militis as well. Although I'm not 100% sure on that. Weaponize the monsters. Big brain. Big brain. I really don't want to move the discard 2 cards here. I'm going to cycle this boon. Alright, I'm just going to be happy to chuck some lands away here. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Sure. Well, I mean, it basically is in the form of Seagate Restoration, but the only problem is that needs to resolve to work, so... Kind of just looking for a nest. Finding a nest would be great. What should you play in the CFB Pro Showdown this week? Well, that's an interesting question. What kind of Magic do you prefer to play? Because I think there are a couple of reasonable decks to play right now, depending on if you like to be an aggro player, or a control player, or a mid-range player. Hey, Mobs, thank you very much for the raid, my dude. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How you doing, bud? Control. Okay, if you lean towards the control spectrum... I know a few people have been doing reasonably well with Jeskai control that might be worth exploring, but I find it hard to believe you're not playing Rogues, as boring as that is. Like, I think Rogues is the best controlling deck the format has right now, so that would probably be my suggestion. Unless you fancy trying to learn how to play Titan's Nest in the space of a few days. In which case, do that. This game is exhilarating. Yeah, not so bad, thank you, man. Ticking along nicely, working away on this deck. How are you? I really would like to have had another counter spell available here, because I don't think I'm winning this counter war. Yeah, I saw Shaheen's Jeskai list. I don't hate it. I can't believe that worked. How did that neutralize go through? Check out the Rogues list. You've played a few matches. It's a little spicy. I'll take a look. Just bear with me a second. Obviously trying to multitask. I see. I'm not a massive fan of these lists playing Zareth. I think Lurrus is just a bit too good. But I kind of like Gadwick. Gadwick's pretty cool. Gadwick's sweet. I like Gadwick. We are flooding out just a smidge. Well, if he didn't save his Dream Trawler, there's no way this doesn't work, right? Oh, fuck off, man. Come on. You should have saved your Dream Trawler. Ah, it makes me look bad. Alright, fine. Be like that. Yeah, Rakdos is a really hard matchup for rogues. I think it's winnable. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. But it's definitely not good. That's for sure. Call time is still fairly far away. That does make some sense. Alright, we could be in some trouble now. I'm going to have to make a very large shark. Some Norse mythos. Yeah, should be really sweet. Looking forward to it. Can't believe opponent was good at magic and chose to hold on to their counter spells. What a disgrace. Blue, black, 1. Nest. Yeah, I think Selesnya Urian is actually very good. I recommend giving it a spin if you haven't. But it's very good against the aggro decks. You want it against the aggro decks of the format, and that's about it. Another negate. Ugh. Alright. That's unfortunate, but I think it means that I do this and hope my opponent doesn't have dispute. Oh, come on. Oh, that's fine. Alright, we're okay. We're okay. We're okay. And then I can chuck away some of the fluff. Yeah, I think if you're expecting a lot of Gruul, then definitely try out Selesnya Urian. I like the matchup there. I think it's very, very reasonable. How does this deck utilize Nest? So most of the time we leverage Nest to allow us to hardcast Shark Typhoons and other expensive spells like Boon of the Wishgiver for 2 mana, you know, Seagate for 3 mana, stuff like that essentially. And you usually win most of your games with an ocean of sharks because you're casting very expensive spells very cheaply. Obviously in the control mirror that kind of pans out a little different. Well, Teferi's not going to ultimate just yet, so I'm not massively worried about that just yet. Witch Doctor. I'm going to try and take it off the table, though. Sure. I'm interested in how much removal my opponent left in their deck, because I can start making 5/5 sharks to try and block this now, and I'm going to try and do that a few times. And see if one of them sticks. But I don't have infinite win conditions. I'll do my best, Mubs. Thanks very much, man. Enjoy yourself. I expect more people should be playing Teferi Master of Time than they actually are. Card's really good, and it plays very well with Elspeth Conquers Death. More people should play it than they do, I think. Spare Supplies is spicy AF. I did thank you for the raid when you came in, man. That's kind of awkward. Ugh. Okay, he says sheepishly. It's -7, right. Opponent may have figured it out. Okay, we got to untap. Just need to stop this being able to bounce the shark. That is my primary concern here. How much bloody mana do I have? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So... I think I'd still rather cycle these, honestly. I have Ryan. I've got to be honest, I'm a little unimpressed. Was kind of hoping for a little bit more. Like, Fatal Push, Torrential Gearhulk, yeah, nice. But, no Smuggler's Copter, no Felidar Guardian. Meh. Kind of lackluster. Not massively sold. ECD Naked. Yes. Yeah, a lot of things that I was sad to see missing. This happens. How many cards have I got? 22? Fuck me. I'm in some trouble. 12 mana, so 10 mana available. Make it 8/8 Shark. 8/8 Shark plus negate. Yeah, I'm a little let down. I'd like to have had it. What the fuck? Dude! You would... That game was nowhere near over. But okay. Thanks, opponent. I appreciate your input. Elspeth Conquers Debt is a very different card. Very different card. Alright, well that was a bit of a slug. But given that it was a slug, we did come out on top. And that's the important part. Bored them into oblivion. I mean, that game was getting a bit tedious at that point. I can believe that to some extent. Opponent on Lurus means they are almost certainly rogues, which means this hand is fine. Unexciting, but fine. Evolving Wilds into Maze Mine Tome on 2 is probably where we're going. Yep, looks like it. Just gonna grab a blue source here. If you have most of your colours covered, you tend to lean towards blue because it's the colour you are the heaviest on. No, clearly that's what it came down to. Witch Doctor, clearly. No reason to scry here. Mystical Dispute is a fantastic pickup. So I will play an untapped blue source now so that I can draw a card and dispute. I will dispute this. No, thank you. Yeah, you really do need to be in the mood for it. Like, sometimes you sit down and realise you're playing the, like, 9th control mirror of the day and you just want to eat your own eyeballs. Which is fine. I understand. Really think they tailored Kaladesh for limited? Maybe. I need to go take a closer look at the list of cards that are in the set, but Kaladesh was a pretty reasonable limited format. It wasn't anything special, but it was fine. Thieves Guild, that's fine for now. Ugh, Milder Shark Typhoon, feels bad, man. Okay, opponent's draw is reasonably aggressive. Never really want to see 3 creatures out of rogues early, if you can help it. This will put me to 8 cards in the bin, so... Yeah, okay. Yeah, lots of rogues. Fair bit of damage here, unfortunately. Try and find some of the instant speed removal, which is way more helpful in this matchup. If they do drown this, however, they dispute it. Okay. I think I'll take a scry in which case. Could do with a high impact spell. Not quite. Am I really going to extinction one creature here? I think there's a good chance I am, honestly. Not happy about it, but good chance I am. I think it's just odds. I think the Enforcer is actually more painful, and this also makes the like Call of the Death Dwellers and Agadeems and stuff worse by exiling this instead of just killing it, because there's already a Thought Thief in the graveyard. It's kind of close though. That might be a smidgen aggressive, but given they're missing lands, I just want to make sure I don't die. What would be a kick in the pants? Enlighten me, Witch Doctor. We have Into the Story covered, which is something. Okay, that's a good draw. It would be a rather bad party deck, wouldn't it? Good chance to get Drown in the Locked. I think I'm actually just going to hold this to try and make a 3/3 with instead. I might not even do that. I might just hold counter draw a card because... Yeah, the Nest is really good at taking down rogue synergies, absolutely. It's a reason why I moved onto the deck at the very start, before I started working on all the small details. If opponent's going to do this, I will make a 3/3 Shark, because it almost certainly gets the block in. Shouldn't have added Lurrus to your hand before attacking, my dude. That's fine. That is an exchange I will take. Yeah, doing things pre-combat, overrated. Let's get a Nest into play. Hold up Dispute plus Tome Draw. Stay hydrated. I guess I can do that. I am always thirsty. Is why I have bottles of drink on my desk. Always, always thirsty. Drink water. I would rather you not Lurrus, to be honest. Drink Ugin. No. Ugin is a dragon. Seems like a bad idea. Like, why don't I drink out of a pitcher like every other streamer in the EU? Good question. Don't know. Maybe I'm not big time enough yet. Maybe when I'm a real streamer, I'll drink from a pitcher. But until then, just amateur. Let's cast a 1-mana Shark Typhoon, chat. Let's cast 1-mana Shark Typhoons. Do I drink my water at room temperature? I'm happy to. Like, I will just like pour a glass of water from the tap and just drink it. But I like cold water. It's not like I hate cold water or anything, but I'm just not massively fussy. Okay, shaping up okay here. If I had a pitcher, I'd probably put it in the fridge before the stream and take it out of the fridge during the stream. I think that's probably what I'd do. I feel fairly comfortable here. I really need a card draw spell to kind of wrap this up, but any card draw spell will do it. That probably does a good enough impression. Blue, eat some cards. Oh, opponent, come back. Okay. So rogues, I like Elspeth's Nightmare. I like these Glimpse of Freedoms, Dispute. I like negates as well. As silly as this sounds, I like a fair number of negates in the matchup. Mainly because it's about Into the Story. If I can shut down Into the Story, I tend to be okay. Which is why I tend to gravitate that way, basically. I cut the Boon of the Wishgivers in this matchup most of the time because drawing too many cards can be super dangerous. And I've jiggled this list around a bit, so what do I cut now? Because I used to cut the other 3 mana spells, but I've replaced them with Nightmares, and I think these are actually good in this matchup. So, I think Beanstalk Giant's probably a trap. Probably don't need that in this matchup, that seems reasonable. Maybe I don't take the extra Nightmare, I just leave the 2 in. Maybe this is just meant to be for Rakdos. I'm not sure. Maybe this just shouldn't be in my board now that I have 2 in the main deck. Let's try something like that. See how that feels. It's nice. Like, obviously, I've been adjusting the list since the ladder reset, but I am currently 8-3 with this. Is that right? Yeah. So we're 1-0 up here, and we're currently 8-3 with Titan's Nest. So hopefully we are right about being onto something. This is close, but I think I can keep this. You probably end up cycling the neutralize though. Maybe not. Maybe not. Doesn't excuse the lack of flavour there. Fair enough. I didn't know that rule. The more you know. Alright, well that crab probably just has to die. I'm not set up to handle a crab right now. I don't have a nest in my hand. I think I prefer holding on to Heartless Act. Yeah, can you stop? Stop playing Ruin Crabs, dude. You're ruining my fun. Am I supposed to hold neutralize? I don't think I am. I think I'm meant to get the Evolving Wilds down, get this thing killed, and move on with my life. Or try to get it killed, I guess. They can drown in the Lochless if they really want to. Do have a Thought Thief. Go get a green source. These rains are going to have to find some gas, or we might be in some trouble. Does bolt themselves for Agadeem. Mills me over a glimpse. That's not bad. What do you want the 4th mana for? That's a good draw. Let's play the blue source. Pass a turn. Go on, put Lurrus in your hand pre-combat again. That made it really easy last time. Not looking like that's the case. We do lose a Shark Typhoon. Think I'm going to rain here because I expect next turn to be Heartless Act Glimpse. Opponent does Drown the Rain, which I'm more than happy with. Lurrus. Yeah, I think I can afford to main phase this. Second Drown will suck, but I can fight it, which I might do. Yeah. Opponent has to put Lurrus in their hand and pass, and then hopefully we're in a position where we can challenge that. Ooh. Ooh, that's really rather good. Don't you dare have a counterspell. How many drowns are in your deck? Why is there so many? Alright, now I'm mad, chat. It's really hard for that to be a third drown in the log. It's really, really hard for that to be a third drown in the log. Alright. Give me a land. I need some help now. Bite me. Actually bite me. Well, we don't need to play around drowning the lock anymore. For fuck's sake, man. Are you serious? Oh my god. Just 4 counterspells back to back. Feels real bad. This one's gonna be hard now. Interesting to note that the Arachnids wouldn't be helping us very much here either, mainly because A, we can't cast them, B, there's like 1 flyer. Down to 21 cards. I'm not actually sure I have any win conditions left. 3 Typhoons gone, the other one is in my hand. Ugh. Yeah, it's very hard to beat 4 drown in the locks. Like, this is pretty criminal. So that's fine if we lose this game. It's not the end of the world. Just pretty desperately looking for a land. Did find it. Nine cards left. Seems very unlikely I can win this now. Yeah. That was very unfortunate. Pretty happy with how that felt, honestly, but yeah. 4 drown in the lock is a lot. Is in fact the largest number of them you can have. Yeah, this is fine. It's not massively exciting, but it is fine. Early interaction has the nest. Just needs to find some payoffs. Opponent on the passage to start with as well. No turn 1 crab is nice. Second nest, not exactly what I'm looking for here. Alright, really gotta find land number 4. I will just fight over this. Sometimes I hold on to these for into the story, but I don't think that's likely to be a factor here, given we have 2 nests in our hand. As long as we can cast one, we should be able to turn into the story off. So, kind of happy aggressively trading for this. Time's pretty good. Okay, well, we'll draw a 3rd nest instead of a land, which is mildly unfortunate. Definitely catching the poor side of variance a little bit tonight. Alright, well. Try and find a land. It's not a land. Opponent is also missing lands, but it's much worse for us than it is for them. They also have a tome, so there is also that. Yeah, this is kind of the problem. We're just not in a position to hold up spells or hold up interaction because we've been missing land drops. I know my opponent is too. I think I actually main phase this rain. It's really awkward, right? Because I could just fire off an extinction event and clear out the Thought Thief, which does keep into the story turned off. It also doesn't play into dispute. I think the combination of things means I'm going to do this. I get to play around dispute, I get to keep into the story turned off. If they draw a land, well, there's not a ton I can do about it. At least if they land into the story while I'm tapped out, I might be able to get a nest down safely. They did draw an Agadeems, that does count. Passes the turn, I draw a dispute. But unfortunately that means I have to pass a turn and miss my land drop, because if they have it into the story, I need to be able to handle it. If they don't, I'll just rain. Clings themselves. Sure. Opponent is starting to hit their land drops. Hopefully we do too, he says before milling 2 of them away. Puts Lurus in their hand. Sure. Surprisingly, pretty okay with that right now. You gonna drown this rain? You're not gonna drown this rain. I'll discard the glimpse. Let's try finesse number 1. If this can stay in play, we might be alright. Needs to stay in play, though. Can't get over that second game. Opponent having all 4 drowns was just, like, really crappy. It happens, but... there. Well, like that Elspeth's Nightmare, unfortunately that one not to be. 29 cards left. How many Shark Typhoons have we lost? Unfortunately, they had the end of the story now. Hey Charizard. We are up and down a little bit today. Currently, we are 8-3 with the nest. We are obviously changing some cards as we go, but I think we might be about to be 8-4. We lost game 2 here to our opponent having all 4 drown in the lock, and I'm not sure we're winning game 3. We're about to find out though. How are you today? Hopefully things are well for you as well. Yes, currently a 71% win rate, according to Untapped. Hoping to keep it climbing. Very well for you, I'm glad. That's always nice to hear. Nice. Well, fair play to you for getting out there and voting. And hopefully you have a lovely stream. I need to try and fight over this. There are a number of hits that can counter this drown, but I need to find one of them, otherwise I think I'm stuck. It doesn't counter the drown, but it does still fix the problem. Nice. Giving away subs is always sweet. I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad it's going so well. You definitely deserve it. I need to be quick here. Just being honest with you, buddy. As I say, us streamers have got to stick together, right? And then black one. This is the only problem with this deck, is all the clicking and all the roping. Not a bad turn, though. Oh. This is so much easier to do in paper. So much easier to do in paper. Ugh. Not often you cast Shark Typhoon, double extinction event, Maze Mine Tome in the same turn, is it? Opponent fires off another into the story. There's a lot of cards in hand over there, bud. I do that all the time, what do you mean? Common everyday occurrence in your games of Magic the Gathering. It's not hard to cast 14 mana's worth of spells, Scott. Shut up. Stop bragging, Mr. Streamer. This is more than fine. That can stay where it is. Just worried about getting decked at this point. 24 cards. Let's not get decked. Sure. Ten cards in the bin right now. Alright, let me turn off stuff. Oh, no, don't exile that one. Everything else is fine. Don't exile that one, though. Opponent doesn't want to deal with me clicking anymore. Victory. Sometimes you just bore them to death. That is a legitimate win condition, and no, I will not be taking any questions at this time. Too much clicking, unbanned cat. Exactly. If I have to go through all this, it's fine for people to bring back Cauldron Familiar. It's just fine. Stop complaining. Brings us to 9-3 with this deck today, though. Getting there slowly. Speaking of slow, this hand. Very. Think is mulligan. Pretty close though. I will keep this. And I'm just going to bin this Balaguettes for now. Whoop. Edgewall Innkeeper. My good friend, I have not missed you. Tome off you go. So many Lovestruck Beasts. I don't know about anyone else, but like most of what I've spent my time playing against these last couple of days has just been like piles of Lovestruck Beast decks. Normally I wouldn't scry here, but given I can see these two over here, I'm kind of tempted to look for a cheap piece of removal for this Innkeeper, which I think I'm going to do. That is the opposite of a cheap piece of removal. Alright, fair enough. Well, we'll just hold up Neutralize and move on with our lives. Probably do have to stab these before they kill me. Cheat removal? How about a 7-mana spell? Arena, that's not quite what I meant. Obviously this is an awful exchange, but I just need to not get punched in the skull by very large Lovestruck Beasts. I can recover the card advantage later. That's an interesting draw step. Do I kill this Innkeeper and deprive them of a card? Or do I just kill the Lovestruck Beast, turn off the Great Henge, turn off really painful Embercleaves? I think I prefer that. Seems a little smoother. I do want to try some main deck Wilts at some point. They didn't miss their land drop. They were on the draw, right? They went turn 1 into turn 2, make both of these, into turn 3, cast Lovestruck Beast. It's all good. It's an easy mistake to make. It's very possible I made the mistake too, so better to check. Whoop. That is one heartless act. I might kill it now, though. Opponent just needs to, like, slam an extinction. Slam a questing beast. Just something vaguely even. Cast something vaguely even. That is none of those things. Main deck Vivians. Brutally opposite. That is fair. Definitely not what I asked for. Anyway. Panic button. Need some help. Well, that's gonna be reasonable. I don't think I'm ever beating a Gem Razor right now anyway. So let's pretend that card doesn't exist briefly. Help is required. We actually might have been okay if it wasn't a Vivian. This is going to be a real issue at the second. Need like a Bloodchief's Thirst, maybe a Shark Typhoon, preferably both. I don't tend to mind the Gruul matchups, but I've not bumped into too many people with main deck Vivians. This card seems like it might be a pain for our current configuration, because we're on cheap effective removal as opposed to versatile removal. So we've got like a lot of Heartless Axe, a lot of Bloodchief's Thirst, stuff like that. And that's a lot worse against Vivian than something like Eat to Extinction or Murderous Rider, for example. That is a Shark Typhoon. Okay. So 5 cards in the bin. So I can do both. Nom. So you're saying there's a chance. It's not a very big one. But it is a chance. Opponent still has 5 cards in hand, so not a very big chance at all. They're all lands, definitely. Game's still very close. What do I extinct here? I think it actually might be odd. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, exactly. It legitimately might be odd. Keep the 4/4. Seems weird given how many even creatures there are, but I think it might just be right. I don't know. Now the top of my deck needs to be like Rain of Revelation, Boon of the Wishgiver, something like that, just to really refuel up. That feels like a Primal Might, and I'm not beating one of those. Alright, cool. Not a particularly good showing there in game 1 against Gruul. That's more than fine. So, what do we see about our opponent's configuration? They are Innkeeper, Lovestruck Beasts. That's it, right? Just Innkeepers, Lovestruck Beasts, and a Vivian. I like the Wilts, I like the Extinction Events, the Shoal Shatter, the Bloodchief's Thirst. I don't like Disputes. I think I lead on 2 Nightmares. I think this is fine as things currently stand. This is not a Beanstalk matchup. We don't have time for that. And Again, it's nice. Very nice. I'm glad you agree, Charizard. Normally I've been cutting the 3-drops, but we've brought these Nightmares in, which I think are actually okay in the matchup. But only okay. I think I'm happy leaving 1 in. Give it a spin like that. I think they're like decisively average in a matchup like this. It's a 2-land Maze Mine Tome Hand. You don't mulligan very many of these. Boop. I was a part of the wheel last night? I don't think I was. I was already gifted a sub to you, so I shouldn't have been. Unless you're referring to a different wheel, in which case. Maybe? Wilt? That's my trick. Literally, apparently, because there's another one. Probably popping this thing like a zit and then cycling a Wilt. Oh, sure. No, I was not around for that. I popped in after I finished work, but it was quite late for me. It was like 1 a.m. or something like that. So came and said hello, and then hung around for a little bit, and then slept like a normal human being. 3 cards in the bin currently. This Garrick's Harbinger is a pain. Yeah, I tend to be awake until about 2 o'clock most days because of the hours that I work, but it catches up with you after a while. Huh. I think I prefer raining here. This Harbinger is going to be a bit of a pain. Get to play around something stupid like Great Henge this way as well. Lions always prefer raining. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, this has to resolve. So I would like to find an extinction event, please. Extinction event would be the perfects. The ASMR reward is redeemed surprisingly frequently. You know what isn't redeemed? My ability to draw lands. Yeah, there's a channel point reward for that. People do enjoy using it. Each to their own. Each to their own. What do I discard here? I really wanted to hit my land there, but I think it's a Shark Typhoon. Go vote! Good luck, enjoy yourself, and hopefully I'll see you again very soon, Charizard. Take care, man. Hopefully you have a lovely stream tonight. Where are my lands? It's very hard to win games when you can't draw mana sources. I will never forget to hydrate. Thank you for reminding me, though. Yeah, it's hard to win games of Magic where you can't draw mana sources, unfortunately, so... We can still Extinction Event our way into this game, but it's looking hard. Yikes. Yeah, looking like we're too late. Can't block both of these. Clothis does 2 damage to me, right? Because even if I exile my own graveyard with Titan's Nest, my opponent can do 2 via their own graveyard. That's really unfortunate. We kept a 3-lander and didn't get past land number 4, which is a shame. Takes us to 9-4 on the day. Touch and go with a few of the card choices in the deck. I'm not sure Elspeth's Nightmare is correct. I think it's interesting in theory, but maybe Scavenging Ooze is just still better even though we don't have very much green. Maybe I'm supposed to play like a Soul Guide Lantern or something. I just wanted a cleaner way of answering Croxa that wasn't awful in every other matchup. I think this is quite good enough. Double tap land makes this pretty poor. This is fine, but not great. Okay, it looks like this is either mono red or the red ramp deck. Looks like red ramp to me. I've enjoyed playing this matchup a few times when we bumped into it, so hopefully we can turn out okay. Unlikely to cycle the boon here, but we're also probably not going to do very much for a little while. Opponent's early tome is a smidgen unfortunate. That is not currently castable, but maybe in the future. Slow and steady. We're both control-ish ramp decks. As long as we can fade the early Ugin, I think we'll be okay. Solemn. Yep. Sadly, we can't eliminate that one. The one of eliminate choosing to be a bit of a pain in the bum. So it's on the mono red version by the looks of it, not the red black version. Rain's not terrible. Opponent probably thinks we're like hard control at this point, so it's being very cautious with their spells, even the ones they can cast. Pretty happy to bin this eliminate. I think it's basically blank. Beanie Boy. Opponent's drawn a ton of free cards from this Maze Mind Tome, which is exactly why it's in their deck. We are looking to find a Titan's Nest, really. That's not a good sign. That means opponent is just going to slam, which we're in danger if they just slam. You try and hold up counter magic as best you can, but apparently that doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to cycle this. And I'm probably just going to slam the Seagate Restoration and draw as many cards as I can. Gives me the best answers, hopefully, to this Ugin. Well, there's the nest. Alright, I'm still on board with that idea. Just draw 6. And find no good answers to a Ugin. That's not what we were hoping for there. Wow. To say I am disappointed is an understatement. Do we ever beat this HowlingMines? Just at any point? Like, probably not. That is depressing. How do we draw like 9 cards and not find an answer to the Ugin? Alright, well I guess I need my opponent to ultimate and for it to be like actually just completely awful. We drew 9 cards. Ugh. They don't ultimate. I mean, I suppose they just kill me next turn, right? Or if I like, they probably just have like a Bone Crusher Giant. Bone Crush me. Like I can't win. It's so unfortunate we drew so many cards and didn't find a single one of the like these to kill the Ugin off. If there's somehow not 2 damage in my opponent's hand, then hooray. Yeah, it's a real shame. I think we were possibly still fine to cast that Seagate and just draw 6. But we did not draw very well off of it. I mean, I could cycle into dispute. That's depressing. Alright, well, we'll take game 2, hopefully. Alright, so the red ramp deck, I like all the negates. I like the 2 Kioras. I like Soul Shatter. I like Wilt. I like Cutting Elspeth's Nightmare. I like Cutting Eliminate and Heartless Act. I like Cutting Extinction Events. And I like Cutting Beanstalk Giants in this matchup as things stand. Thanks again, everyone who's hanging out, by the way. I do hope you're enjoying yourself, as we hopefully learn a thing or two. I hate these hands, man. Like, I'm not supposed to keep this. This is significantly better. I'll just put the Kioras back for now. Yep, it's a nice, slow, tedious start. I'm going to play an untapped land here so that I can potentially negate Tome. Because Tome's a card I would consider negating at this exact moment in time. Drawing another land, I'm probably just going to cycle away this Triome. You may Bone Crush me. Tap land is nice, because I was a little worried about getting Bone Crushed there and having it cast as a creature. Because we are a little flooded, it would appear. Opponent just passing the turn is kind of weird, but we'll take it. Guess I just want to charge the Crawling Barrens. I do have another one. Just going to make a 3/3 Shark this time around. I didn't want to make a 2/2 last turn because I played into Stomp that way. But I'm happy making a 3/3. It blocks the Bone Crusher. Harder for my opponent to remove. Nice. Try and set ourselves up to Titan's Nest into Boon with negate backup. Opponent plays the Valakut's Awakening, that's fine by me. Looks like they're very happy taking their time as well. Dispute's not awful here. So in this spot I would have 5 cards in the graveyard. It would be Nest into... No, I can't quite do it all. No, I can do it all, right? I think I can. So blue, black, green, 1, Nest. You've had Teamer Adventures Ultimatum. That's interesting. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. It feels like the first time I ultimate him into an Edgewall Innkeeper, I'm going to like punch a small child. So maybe not, but I can kind of see what you mean by adventures kind of shoring up some of your weaknesses. The adventure package is just like good. So makes a lot of sense. Wow. We are ready to negate. -2 Great Henge, 3 Dragons. Yeah, I think I kind of like the idea of leaving. Your ultimatums get so much worse. Alright, well this is fine. I don't care about the Ironcrag feat. It means I can only cast 1 more spell. So they cast the Ugin. I dispute it. And then I have 4 negates in my hand. Yeah, the red deck seems like a bit of a meme. I think Crawling Barrens is very good. And finding the best Crawling Barrens shell might be the way to figure out the format, but I don't know what it is. Well, non-creatures, not resolving. Definitely not resolving. No, you can only use the mana to cast coloured spells, unfortunately, so... No Nest to pump Barrens, or that would be pretty slick. I think I'm fine just killing this buying time against it. Reading the card does tend to explain the card, yes. Cool. I get to rain here and still hold up the gate. I don't blame you. It's a very complicated card. It's easy to forget exactly how it works. It's very specific wording. We can keep this where it is. Do I want rain back? I think I do want rain back. Try and just find ourselves a Shark Typhoon to start winning this game. Valakut's Awakening, you got it, champ. Well wins the hand away. I think this card is slightly underplayed. Probably deserves to see more play than it does. It's quite cool. It being instant speed is surprisingly relevant sometimes. It's really good with Dream Trawler in the Jeskai Shells. But it wouldn't surprise me if like some Teferi's tutelage deck with this is like reasonable. Like maybe not good, but reasonable. What do I do about this? I think I rain first and then figure it out. I gotta leave 2 in the bin here, I think. Discard the Spare Nest. I think I can just soul sash. I can just soul shatter this and buy myself plenty of time. I need to find a Shark Typhoon, basically. That I will keep, however. Maze Mind Tome is pretty good. I'd rather not tap 2 blue for it, though, deck. My hand has many blue spells in it. Opponent is diversifying their Crawling Barrens, which I think in normal circumstances is probably correct, but right now it would actually be more of a problem for me if they started front-loading one of them. Definitely something we have to keep in mind. Chandra Heart of Fire is never ever resolving. Why do you keep tapping 2 blue? Stop. If they just bring back the Phoenix, I'll take a hit from it. It's not a problem. Nope. Alright. There is the Shark Typhoon. That should do it. How many cards are in my graveyard currently? 6. Just gonna bin this. I already have a tome going. That is hilarious. Can I do both? If I can do both, it'll be really funny. But I'm not gonna take like the counter magic down to do both. It's not that funny. Four, 5. Shark Typhoon. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 2 cards in the graveyard. So what, virtual 9? So 3. I can hold up 1 negate. Nah. I'll just wait. Cancel some spells, draw some cards, slam it next turn. Seems fine. But just passing the turn validates my choice. Bin Rain here. Hand is full enough, courtesy of Tome. And let's exile 3 cards from the graveyard and spend the rest on mana for this Kiora Best the Sea God. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only cost 7. Why do I keep doing that? Keep thinking everything's slightly more expensive than it actually is. I think all roads lead to Rome here, but it's still very sloppy. So. Technically, I get my mana back because I have to move the discard, which is really funny. But, yeah. This is target permanent, by the way, so I can just steal a Crawling Barrens, which is very, very funny. Stomp my face. You got it, champ. Not really worried about that. Again, do not need to draw cards right now, so just going to pop those in the graveyard. Bone Crusher gets tapped. I actually can't cast spells at command right now. I gotta make sure I can block these and don't accidentally die, so I think it's fine for me just to do this. The longer this game goes, the more likely I win it, I think. I just need to not accidentally die to Crawling Barrens before I steal it. Ox of Aganas. I think I'm happy cowering that one. Seems like a pretty good draw 3. And the Phoenix of Ash just doesn't matter anymore. Yar. I will keep a second one of those. That seems rather good. Let's yoink this. Four cards in the grave. This is just getting a bit ridiculous. Four, 5, 2 blue. Good God. This might be one of the cooler boards I've seen in a while. I'm having all the fun in this game. My opponent doesn't get to have any of the fun. I really should just put the mana into the Crawling Barrens, but I'm just getting lazy now. This is very, very hard to lose this game now. It's a lot of power, chat. That's a lot of power. Three negates back up. Nothing to worry about. Absurd. See if we can take game 3 in a similar fashion, shall we? I would like that. This is a 2-land tome hand. You don't mulligan very many of those. It's perfectly serviceable. Third land. I think I'm going to wait on it, though. It's going to fetch black off this this Fable Passage, I think. It's unlikely. If my opponent had literally played Maze Mine Tome exactly then, there's a chance I fetch green instead, but you really don't need very much green in the deck at all, so I would prioritize black if given the choice. Looking for lands here, preferably. It's not a land. Jams are solemn. Yeah, nothing I can do about that, really. Finding a green source there is nice. I don't really want to wilt the Solemn. I'm going to play the untapped lands. I think there's a good chance that I end up negating something and wanting to activate Tome as well. If not, I would rather Rain. Take R2. Opponent plays another Barrens. Is happy to pass. There's no real good way of cleaning these out other than instant speed removal at the moment, so they do seem reasonably well positioned. Kiora bests the Sea God. Good chance I bite on the wilt here and just wilt this Solemn away. Just so I don't have to discard. 5 cards in the bin. Means that we can start nesting out some big spells shortly. The Barons are the thing that scares me, right? Like, Barons is literally the only card I care about. Ugin to an extent. But Barons is the one that always scares me in this matchup. Phoenix of Ash. Sure. Opponent probably doesn't pump here. They probably just want to charge their Barons. I'm just going to draw a card. Could have drawn for the dispute. Didn't. That might have been poor. 5 cards. So if I nest into Typhoon, I can't also hold negate this turn. I can, however, kick this Bloodchief's Thirst and hold up negate, which I think is probably preferable. The chance that I need to find room for like the second Eliminate back in the board again instead of the like the third Bloodchief's Thirst, just because Crawling Barons is a card that's seeing play, and I need to have my removal be a little more flexible and instant speed, specifically for this card. Maybe. The gap between Thirst and Eliminate is reasonably high sometimes, so just gonna come and get in for 4, huh? Okay, well our next turn should be a good turn, so let's hope it's good enough. Soul Guide Lantern. That needs to not happen, bud. That needs to not happen. Yeah, that one would have been a bit of a problem. So, black, blue, green. No black spells being held up here, so I'm going to do it this way. And spend 5 cards from the graveyard and 1 blue mana on a Shark Typhoon. And this way I can either dispute if I need to, or I can just draw a card with a tome. Keeps me safe from Ugin here, which was something that's entirely possible that it happens. Either that or I'm just taking 6, which I think I can afford to do, because I gain 4 off the tome. Rain's not terrible here, but would like to have had a few more cards in the graveyard for that one to be really good. Soul Shatter's not terrible either. Am I just pumping out the Kioras? I might be. Can I hold up Soul Shatter at the same time for... Yeah, I can. So that should be fine. So 5, 6, 7... Oh, the things Titan's Nest lets you do are just messed up. Like, it can be a bit slow, it can be a bit clunky, but this card's just busted. If you can get it going, you just have messed up turns that no deck can compete with. Played a land this turn? Yes. So hold Soul Shatter and or Dispute. Chandra, Heart of Fire. You got 4 mana over there? Yeah, sure. Resolves and I'll shatter it away, I think. Or will I? I might just punch it, honestly. It's just shocking me, right? Just punch it. Backup nest is fine to go in the bin. Opponent isn't quite dead, otherwise I'd just kill them, but not quite dead. Alright, should be safe here. Let's kill Chandra, 8 the opponent. We get to steal a Baron's next turn. We can make plenty of Sharks at instant speed. This handles a Baron's at instant speed. We still have enough mana to counter Ugin. So, I think we're okay. You don't want to Ugin into this anyway. So, yeah, I think we're okay. 4th Barons. Well, there's the Ugin. I'm afraid it is not resolving. Yeah. Smooth. Alright, that's more like it. Takes us to 10 and 4 with this deck tonight, so 70-ish%? Definitely still some kinks to work out, but we're heading in the right direction.